Are you guys having fun? You still having fun playing this expansion of the War Within? Are you excited for Midnight? Or are you going through a little bit of a lull? Are you not sure if you still want to play this game? I keep doing it, and sometimes I'll admit, maybe the game's not as fun as it used to be. I think the War Within's been a pretty good expansion overall. I've had fun playing it, but there are times where, yeah, maybe the game hits a bit of a lull. Let's check out this video real quick from Mad Season Show, When MMOs Are No Longer Fun. Oh no. Let's see what he has to say here.
Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another video for you. Today we're going to talk about something that's probably happened to most everybody who's played MMOs at some point. Come home from work or school, relax, launch your favorite MMO, enter the world, jump around for a little bit, ruminating on what you want to do. And after a couple of minutes you decide that you want to log off because it is no longer fun. And a lot of times you don't even know why. It's happened
to me. Yeah, I'll admit it. But I will say one thing. Delves have really fixed that in a big way for me. I feel like there were a lot of times where I would log in, and, you know, I got a lot of shit going on in my life. I'd be streaming, I'd be working, I got kids, I got a wife, and sometimes I got to actually give them attention, right? I can't just play all day. So when I log in, there used to be a thing where, like, I'm like, I don't have enough time right now to do a Mythic Plus. I don't feel like getting into that grind either. I don't have enough time to raid, that's for sure. What do I have enough time for? Well, let me call up Greg from accounting. Maybe we'll run a delve real quick. It's those delves, like that quick 15-minute piece of content that WoW was missing for a long time. I feel like delves really brought that in. It's even like a 10-minute piece of content. And then sometimes you get the skip. When you enter the delve, it's like a 5-minute piece of content. But I really feel like that was something, and it advances your progression. Now you can get ruined crests from it too. I feel like delves were a very big add to the game. I feel like they're under kind of not talked about as much as they should be, because I think they really did kind of help with this whole, I'm logging in, what can I do right now? Actually, I'm going to log out.
There's just this overpowering desire to log off and do anything other than play this game that you used to love. So today, for those who have been in that very position or are currently in it, I thought we would analyze this and answer the question, just why and how MMOs become unfun. A good place to start is always with the basics, and we have to ask ourselves the question, what is the core fundamental appeal that drives people to play video games? Well, they're recreational. They're
an escape. They're an escape from real life. That's the one thing too. That's why people get really mad when, like, politics shit and, you know, D&I and all that shit gets brought into WoW, because people don't want to deal with real life stuff in their games. They want to escape. I feel like Azeroth has always been a big escape. I still remember logging in for the first time as a 15-year-old, and I felt like I was transported to another world. I loved it. I was such a big Lord of the Rings fan at the time that was like the closest thing I had to, okay, I'm going into a Lord of the Rings world. It just felt high fantasy. It was fun. And yeah, it's a way to kind of, you know, take your brain away from the troubles of life, and also feel like you're achieving things, right? One really good thing about MMOs is there's that constant sense of achievement. You're always advancing. You're always getting better. Your eye level's going up. It's a little dopamine rush, right? When you get a new piece of gear or something. So it's those things combined.
Fun, which can mean different things to different people. For some, it's a long questing session. For others, it's an intense match in an FPS game. Or maybe a mind-boggling puzzle, a thrilling horror, competitive team-based, high-end raiding, chill grinding with Netflix in the other monitor. And for the rest, it's erotic role-playing. The reasons why we play them can, of course, vary wildly. A common trait that they all share is the fact that they are optional. Think about the first time you picked one.
Hey, wait a minute, I just saw something there. Go blue. That Michigan sweater. Hell yeah.
Optional. Think about the first time you picked one up. You didn't do so because you were going to fall behind on dailies or your raid needed you to tank. That would, of course, be impossible because you didn't yet have a character. You most likely started purely on the principle of, hey, that looks fun.
Adventure.
I'd like to try that.
Yeah.
So really at the heart of all of this isn't necessarily to identify why you're no longer having fun. Rather, it's more to identify the reasons that compel you to play other than for the fun of it. We have to first identify exactly what this pressure is that's causing you to log in. And as it turns out, there are a plethora of reasons for that, whether that be inside through game mechanics and design, or even outside to some of the more psychological aspects of what compels us to play these social addictive MMORPGs. I think it would be best to start off with the more straightforward stuff first, starting with FOMO, or fear of missing out.
Oh, yeah.
Right around the turn of the 2010s, gaming, particularly MMOs, started this transformation that was largely influenced by mobile gaming. It was around this time is when they really started to surge in popularity. The games were colorful, exciting, handheld hits of dopamine on the go, no matter where you were, whether that be school, work.
Yeah, mobile gaming did change the games industry for sure. No doubt about that. It's the short dopamine rushes, the never wanting to miss out on things. There's those always online games like Clash of Clans and shit, where if you're not on it, you could get attacked and stuff like that. Yeah, Blizzard and a lot of MMO companies really picked up on that and started to run these like in-game live events where you're not around. If you don't log in for a certain amount of time, whatever it is, a week, a month, you might miss out on that in-game events. And there's certain items available only during that time. So yeah, there's that whole FOMO aspect of it, no doubt. That'll make people log in sometimes.
Gym.
I've told you guys, shit, I'll be going on vacation. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to miss out on this item because I went on vacation. It was that damn pirate, what was it? The Corsair mount. For the time, I missed it because I went on vacation during the time that it was available. And I literally had to grind it out for 5 weeks, and I missed one of the weeks because I went on vacation. Fuck me. I missed out. What am I going to do?
Bathroom.
Buy a laptop you scrub? Yeah.
In particular, they proved to be extremely effective in retaining players because they had one secret power, and that was the ability to grab their attention at all hours of the day because, of course,
should have gone on vacation.
Right. They're like herpes. They're a constant companion. Yeah. They tether us to the wonderful world of social media, as well as social contacts and addicting games.
A nice view.
It's much easier to get our attention when we receive a ping on a device that's on hand 24/7, that a chest is ready to open, or some rewards have come in, or your daily and weekly timers have reset. And so, slowly over time, as they became more and more popular, other games, namely the MMO, saw this opportunity to adopt this very effective way of retaining players.
Yeah.
Timers upon timers upon timers. Dailies, weeklies.
Yeah, I mean, we got the weekly vault. The weekly vault is a weekly FOMO. Oh shit, Tuesday's coming up and I didn't run my dungeon yet, or I didn't kill some raid bosses. It's definitely like something that is forcing you to log in every week. If you miss the vault, then you miss your chance at the gear and you fall behind. That's what it always feels like. And there's catch-up mechanics for gear, but there is no catch-up mechanic for the vault. You miss that shit, you're done. You only get so many vaults every single season. So that's certainly like FOMO. It's going to pull you back in every single week. And the vault items are trash. Yeah, that even feels worse. I mean, you do all this shit that you're supposed to, and then your vault turns out to be garbage. I didn't open mine yet today. It's probably going to be garbage.
Weeklies that are comprised of dailies. Monthlies that are comprised of weeklies.
Yeah.
Complete these daily quests, do your daily dungeons, scratch your ass daily, holiday events, battle passes, you name it.
Tour gas.
It's all over most every genre nowadays. Yep. Developers have really discovered the power of FOMO, and in a lot of cases, the player isn't rewarded for playing as much as they are punished for not playing.
Wow, that's a big line. That's a big line. Players aren't rewarded for playing, but they're punished for not playing. That's literally what we just talked about with the vault, right? Not getting a piece of gear, even though you did all the shit you were supposed to. But then for not playing, you're not going to get a piece of gear for sure. It does feel that way at times.
The case may be, the reason to log in is no longer this pure wholesome fun of it. A new warrior has entered the ring, and it begins to dominate a significant percentage of the reason why players log in. And this is especially true in modern times as MMOs have become more understood and the min-max optimization culture has taken form. And this isn't to say that any and all daily or weekly timers automatically equate to a game being bad or illegitimate. I think it's pretty reasonable to say that most would agree that there are places for them.
Yeah,
just little nudges here and there to reward for some form of consistent play. But it's when they begin to take this huge share of the pie and dominate almost every corner of the game is where it starts to become an issue, as the player can feel suffocated as they're constantly bombarded with timed task after timed task before they can actually do the fun thing that they originally clicked the play button for. It's a reduction of freedom.
It's these new patch items that they keep doing with like the ring. You know, you got to get your ring and then empower. You got to get your disc belt and empower that. It does feel like these constant items where like they're forcing you to log in and grind out this item so then you can go do the shit you want to do, because you shouldn't be raiding without your disc belt. So you just logged in for the first time this season, got to go get your belt, then you can go do the shit you want to do. That does happen a lot in WoW.
The developers guiding the player down this very controlled path of do these specific things and then you'll be free, which for a lot of players encroaches on the fun part of it, as it's antithetical to one of the core fundamental traits of the genre, and that's freedom. The MMO is sort of all about being thrown into this giant world with
do whatever you
so
want.
many different things to do, whether that be questing, dungeons, raiding, PvP, economy, grinding, professions, achievements, challenges, to name a few.
True.
It is the
exploration
of the world of video games, where you have this huge selection of variety to choose from. So in the cases where these focused niche daily timers start to really dominate, you definitely have this loss of this sense of freedom, and you can almost feel as if you have a list of chores to go through before you can get to the fun stuff. And for that reason, it's item number 1 on our list of things that compel you to log in, other than what initially seduced you to begin with.
Yeah, makes sense.
Fun. So continuing this logic and chasing the reasons that people log in for other than fun. Next we have addiction. It's no secret, MMOs are addictive.
Yeah.
Probably the most addictive genre there is.
Who remembers being younger and having that, you don't have responsibility or anything. I used to go to sleep so excited to wake up and play WoW. I didn't even tell my parents good morning sometimes. I pissed my mom off. She'd be like, "You're awake? When did you wake up?" I'd be like, "Oh, I've been awake for a couple hours." Because I'd be like in the office. I wouldn't see them because that's where the family computer was. We had a little office room. And I just log in. I would go run downstairs, log in. It's time to play. And that feeling, I don't know if I get it anymore. Maybe just because I'm older. I don't know. But the feeling of going to sleep, excited to wake up to play that game. Yeah, that was definitely, you knew you were addicted at that point. You were hooked.
Mobile gaming, RPGs themselves are very addicting. There's just something about constant long-form character progression that fires up our dopamine receptors. But the key here is that
I want them days back too.
There was this safety measure in the fact that they ended. Eventually you go through a campaign and you have a credit screen awaiting you to tell you to do something else with your life. But now you take the same...
Imagine sleeping while playing an MMO. I remember one time I fell asleep, I kid you not. It was during Burning Crusade. I was trying to level up, and that shit was a grind. And I'm playing, I think when Burning Crusade came out, I was like maybe 16, maybe 16. And I fell asleep, kid you not, at the computer. I think it was like 3 a.m. My fingers, when I woke up about an hour later, were still on the WASD key. And my hand was still on the mouse. And I fell asleep in the chair in that exact position, and I woke up an hour later, still ready to play. And I woke up, just turned in the quest that I had been doing before I fell asleep, and then I went upstairs. But yeah, I used to grind that shit so hard to not fall asleep.
Idea, and you put the player into this virtual world that's to be shared with thousands of others, and remove the ending, and you now have the recipe for one of the most addicting genres of game to ever exist. And beyond that, with the help of the previously mentioned FOMO, they're actually designed to be addictive.
No sleep these days.
They're designed to create this maladaptive dependence where players develop an almost obsessive pattern of play. Roughly 50% of players self-report and consider MMOs to be addictive.
They are addictive.
Symptoms mirroring substance abuse disorders, such as constant thoughts about the game, irritability or stress after 24 hours without playing, failed quitting attempts. Trust me, I know a lot about that one. And as well as using the game to escape real-life problems.
Yeah.
This addiction stems from a potent mix of psychological principles, game design tactics, social pressures, as well as individual vulnerabilities. Most people know that dopamine is the culprit, the neurotransmitter tied to pleasure and motivation. Logging in for a previously mentioned daily quest might yield a minor upgrade.
Tunisia's fine.
But the key here is that this anticipation builds tension that's only relieved by playing. studies have indicated, as the world of social media has evolved and has collectively been overflooding our brains with this constant stream of dopamine, it's actually rewired our reward systems, and it makes real-life tasks feel dull by comparison, leaving these online virtual spaces as the only potent source left for our beloved hit. This is quite often cited for studies relating to social media, but
I'm not gonna lie. Like my brother-in-law got my kids the Meta Quest the other day. It's like, and it's the first real VR that I've tried on, and that thing is fucking insane. And it might not even be the best version of VR right now, but when I put it on, and I'm getting, there's a point here. When I put it on, it brought up, I could see my house still. I could see the room and everything. It's got cameras on the front, so you can actually see out of the VR headset even though you're wearing it. But then there were screens everywhere. Like I had right here like a YouTube player. I had right here like a game that was on. I had right here like a live score. And I was like, damn, this is better than fucking real life. Like I could imagine a day where this VR shit could just be in a contact lens, and then all of a sudden like real life becomes boring as shit if you don't got screens everywhere while you're walking around. And I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, I have a screen up in the kitchen right now. I have the game on. And she's like, no way. And I put it on, and her mind was blown too. And I'm like, man. And then I took off the VR headset, and I was like, oh, this is boring. Like Pornhub, yeah. I was like, this just feels like life is so dull right now without the VR headset on. And I totally see it going that way, where eventually we're just going to be like fucking cyborgs walking around, where we just have constant digital media being put up in our faces. And if you take out those contacts or take off that VR headset, everything's going to feel very dull and boring.
What many people fail to realize is that
augmented
MMOs
reality,
are social media.
And augmented reality makes reality feel dull. It does.
Say it's more on the media side rather than social in comparison to the standard
kind of a
platform,
conspiracy, kind of not. Yeah,
it's an online multiplayer game with communities and microcosms held within, and it's surrounded with these RPG-like characteristics to serve as its reward structure. Since it is multiplayer, progression is valued because it's relative, and developers recognize this as they often consult behavioral psychologists to optimize these loops, ensuring the grind, as repetitive and as low stakes as it may seem to be, keep the players hooked without burnout. This is more common in MMOs structured around vertical progression as opposed to horizontal, but they're made to be competitive. Humans are wired for rivalry, and MMOs amplify it with leaderboards, PvP arenas, rare cosmetics, dungeons.
Eye level, IO, like all these things are meant to pitch you against other players in the game. And you guys do it all the time. You're like, who the fuck are you, Sam? You got a 518 IO or something because I only ran like 2 dungeons. And yeah, that happens all the time. It's definitely a competitive thing, and people are competitive. And when Blizzard or any other game maker puts these rankings in a game, it's intentionally done because it's going to get you to grind it out to rise up on those rankings.
Scores, raid scores, item levels, and best in slot gear that remains best in slot until the next set is released. Yep. This creates a certain amount of pressure to keep up through, once again, FOMO, as it creates this urgency out of fear of being left out of these activities if your character falls too far behind. This leads us to number 3 on our list.
Right, that's
and that social pressure. Joining a guild is many times a commitment. It means showing up.
Social pressure. I wonder who the fuck social pressures me to play the game more. Literally, like 4 times during this video, people in chat have said, hey, Sam, why don't you just log in and play the game? Why don't you get your IO up? Why don't you get your eye level up? Why don't you go get that profession, grind out those damn profession items so you can go ahead and get that shit crafted so you stop sucking at the game. Yeah, raid time, Sam. Yep, I see it all the time. Social pressures to play.
For scheduled events,
stop
like
reacting.
Yep. Raids or PvP fights where your absence lets the team down.
You guys are a bad influence.
In many cases, some even describe it as a second job. You become a critical part of your group's success, and many watching, I'm sure, can relate to being in situations where sometimes you're not really feeling it, but it's raid time and everybody needs you, so you begrudgingly click the play button.
True.
But it's not all negative. This pressure can manifest in other more wholesome ways. Online friends can very well become a real and integral part of somebody's social circle and support system. While there's definitely
This
no
guy's voice is
replacement for face-to-face
I love Mad
social
Season.
interaction, this is something that many people learned with the COVID-19 lockdowns.
Oh,
Real
yeah.
bonds can be formed and friendships can be made on.
I'm sorry, but I mean, I don't, I'm not saying people need to die or something, but COVID was peak for gaming. It really was. Like, I miss being in lockdown sometimes. And you could say I'm a degenerate for feeling that way, but I feel like gamers, I mean, gaming just fucking was at an all-time high. Unfortunately, we had Shadowlands during it. I mean, imagine if we actually had a good expansion during COVID, what that would have done to our lives. Would have been fantastic. But I played the shit out of Shadowlands just because I had nothing else to do. Work was slow. I was working from home. I just log in and run Torghast for no fucking reason sometimes. Yeah, that was torture at times, but it was a great time to be a gamer, no doubt.
Line and
Twitch traffic was crazy. You know how many people became partners during it? And like now they've completely fallen off, but they became Twitch partners only because Twitch traffic was absolutely insane during that time. It was a really good time to start social media and all that shit. But since then, I'll be honest, a lot of people fell off. They were like literally just a product of COVID peak internet times, and then they just died and went back to work after.
Actually true for those who may suffer from social anxiety, which happens to be a group of people that are particularly attracted to the genre due to the casual nature of how people interact with each other. You don't walk up and shake hands, maintain eye contact, and engage in awkward small talk. You click invite, you talk in text, and the focus is often centered around the task at hand rather than the individual person. But regardless, throughout all of this, friends groups have been formed, and many people relate to the fact that while they were initially attracted to the game for its gameplay, what kept them playing were the people who they played with, which certainly raises the stakes and the consequences of quitting the game if you're no longer having fun with it. For many people, this is their Sunday night football party or a weekend at the bar. For many, it's become a social activity that has this consistent and valuable place in their lives, even if they grow to dislike the game itself.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do this, but I was in high school. Sometimes my mom would be like, don't you want to go out, meet girls or something? It was like a Friday night. I'd be like, no. What are you talking about? I'm playing. This guy probably is not a girl. I mean, it looks like this is a night elf female. It's probably a guy on the other side of the keyboard. But who needs that? I want to run Karazhan tonight, Mom. I don't want to go out. What's wrong with you? Yeah, I'll be honest. Shit, this game kept me out of trouble at times. Right? Some of these kids went off the fucking rails doing drugs and shit. Where was Sam? He was running Karazhan on a Friday night.
I like to make the comparison of beer.
The best,
by itself,
the best
it
Dare
like urine,
product here. Don't do drugs.
It does taste a little
Play
bit
WoW.
better if you enjoy it with friends, and it can be just as addictive even if you don't enjoy the actual beer. And for those who are in this position, it becomes more of a means to an end. It is the platform for which they obtain something more valuable to them. This too is something that developers are very well aware of, and some have even built their entire game around it. Some of you might be familiar with Star Wars Galaxies, which held an economy and item system that was entirely player-driven. You had combat roles that got crafting materials. They would trade it to crafters, who would then turn them into weapons and armor for the combat professions to this time get resources for cooks to sell back to them for buff food, or resources to create doctor buffs, which were required for the end game. And then the doctors would then spend this money on a stripper to gain more buffs. Yeah, seriously. This model was called the weak tie interdependence system, where people you may not even know were necessary for your survival, and it was designed around the purpose of forcing interaction and cooperation and creating these online tight-knit communities. They wanted it such that if you were thinking of quitting, you weren't just leaving behind a silly video game. You were leaving behind a community who needed and valued you.
True.
Next, and we briefly mentioned this earlier, but we also have the fact that people use it as an escape.
Yeah,
so
I said
now
this
that
earlier.
We have this understanding of their heavy social nature and just how much it can influence players on a community and individual level. These aren't just virtual worlds. They're virtual online ecosystems with communities. There's an MMO called Second Life, which is a very appropriate name because due to their time-consuming nature, for many, the MMO is their second life.
Yeah.
Although they aren't immune to change, they're certainly less volatile than the unpredictability of life. They become a comfort activity that serves as this.
Let us lay waste to
I don't
this
know
realm.
what language that is, but thank you for the sub on YouTube. Yeah, I definitely. I mean, you guys seen the movie like Ready Player One? A lot of people see that as like the future of MMOs. That like it's really your second life, or it is your almost your prime life. Like people in that movie were just always logged in, always have their headsets on, grinding out items in that game. And a lot of people think we're heading in that direction because of AI and everything. That it's just going to unemploy everybody, and everyone's going to be living off of government funding, and they're just going to use those government funds to pay their MMO subs and constantly be logged in, and that's it. We're just going to become cash cows for these companies, playing our games and playing our lives away. That doesn't sound that bad. Sounds dystopian, but not that bad.
Escape from the unknown and the seriousness.
Who needs
of real
grass?
life and all of its stresses to where no matter what's going on, you can always farm some mud crabs outside
Basically
of Relica
there, yeah.
for some strength XP. This is certainly a double-edged blade that can be good or bad, depending on an individual basis, how much self-control that person has, and if they use them as more of a place to destructively run away, as opposed to perhaps a more constructive temporary respite to gather their breath and thoughts before they tackle whatever it is that they are temporarily escaping from. Humans love routine, and for many, even if they don't particularly enjoy it even, partly because of the previously mentioned dynamics like FOMO, which get you to log in every day, it's still become this daily substantial part of their routine. And even if it's no longer really that much fun, they continue to play it because to remove it from their routine after such a long amount of time would be quite jarring, especially if they don't have anything else to fill in the void that's left behind. And beyond this, there's also a power struggle aspect to it. Again, this is something that's been studied in the world of social media.
You guys are fucked
also
up.
applies to MMOs, especially in terms of power, where you may feel overwhelmed from the stresses of life. MMOs let you embody this powerful avatar, lead raids, amass wealth, and
I am
to be the
Samiccus.
best at
Samiccus is
something,
I.
or
I always
at
say
least
it.
to be more than what it is possible in your mundane personal life. And last on our list, finishing off again with a more psychological reason, we have
Sunken
the
cost.
sunk cost fallacy. This is often referenced in the world of gambling. Player loses $100 in a game of blackjack. Well, he's got to keep playing to earn it back.
This is why some people say there'll never be a WoW 2. It's because people continue to play WoW because they've already put so much time into WoW. Right? You've grinded out all these mounts, you've grinded out all these transmogs, you've done all this shit. You can't lose it. You've already put so much time in. You might as well just keep playing. And that's why people think a reset on the game would kill the game, because then people could actually stop. So Blizzard will never do that. And I kind of agree with it. Like, if there ever is a WoW 2, it'll be kind of a soft reset of the game, but all the items will remain. Because the sunken cost is the reason why a lot of people continue to play WoW.
You lost $100. What's 100 more? Maybe I can win it back. Until, of course, because the game is skewed mathematically towards the house, that 100 eventually becomes 500, 1,000, 2,000, so on. And for the MMO, while the money investment is rather
don't type
compared to many
/blade.
hobbies,
You don't want to know.
what's really at stake is time. It is by far the most time-consuming genre of any game. Not only are the activities themselves time-consuming, such as leveling and raiding, achievement hunting, or any of the 100 things that you can do, they are also, of course, without end, as the game is constantly
ugly fucking
updated
mount.
and more obstacles to overcome are constantly being added. The MMO first gained mainstream popularity with the rise of World of Warcraft in 2004, which means we just passed the 2-decade mark since
That's
the
insane.
breakout of the genre, and many people have been playing for all of those 20 years. So we have thousands of hours or even thousands of days of time and energy and memories sunk into just one single game.
Yeah.
And you can see how this loops back to addiction, because this situation is created where quitting means essentially relinquishing a 20-year investment. It's not to say that they necessarily wasted the past 20 years of their life, of course. For some people, it's all about the journey, and the memories made along the way are worth it. But for the less abstract, motivated people, it can feel as if their time could have been better spent elsewhere, especially if they have grown to dislike the game that they're playing. However, quitting would force them to confront that uncomfortable reality, and so they just never quit,
Yep.
even if the enjoyment and fun has long left them. So, FOMO, addiction, social pressure, escapism, sunk cost fallacy.
All making you pay that
If you remember,
sub.
the goal of this video was to identify the reasons why you log in that aren't fun, and these are just a few of the many, although I would say that they are the most common. It's a very complicated situation that's highly dependent on each individual person. At the end of the day, you just have to remember what initially drew you to it to begin with, and that's just to have fun. If you find this word falling lower and lower on your priority list of why you play, that's when it's time for a break. Forcing it eventually leads to burnout 9 times out of 10. I've rarely seen people try to tough through it and they just magically start enjoying it again. I personally have taken many breaks in my time. I've picked up other hobbies and focused my efforts elsewhere, and by doing that, all of these other pressures begin to fade, and the fun part begins to once more climb the rankings of what influences me to play, until eventually I decide that I want to play it again. If you do find yourself in this position of playing them, even if they aren't fun, you've
just
probably
keep playing,
that
man.
the
The fuck
solution
up.
lies in once more making it optional, to remove all obligations and pressures other than fun.
Nope,
as
just keep playing.
your reasons to play it. Usually that
Play
involves
through
just
it.
walking away from it, and it might take some time, depending on your level of burnout. For some people, it's a week. For others, it's months, years, and some never come back. And that's fine. Don't pressure yourself to play. Don't let the developers pressure you into playing with their various addiction-fueled design choices. And really just play when you feel like it. Play when you think to yourself, hey, you know what? That sounds like fun. Which, again, is the entire point of video games to begin with. But with that being
Agreed.
said, I hope that you found this video fun.
I love this video.
Like it if you liked it, because
It's a great
I
video.
will see you in the next one. Peace.
Mad Season. Very good. Yeah, I mean, all the reasons he mentioned are 100% accurate.
Farewell for now, mortals.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed today's video.
And they're the reason why we
You
keep
again.
playing. Now, is WoW still fun to me? It is. It is. And that's why I keep playing. And one of the reasons why it's fun is a social aspect. You know, I stream the game and do all that. And that definitely brings a lot of fun into the game for me. It adds the layer of the game that I enjoy most, which is the social aspect. Getting together with people and killing a giant dragon. That's why I play this game still. Overall, nice video from Mad Season.